Hey, welcome to Five Lakes Garage, and today we are not in the shop, we're not even at home, we're not even in the same county, we are down at the beach. Look at that, you can see it a little bit over there in between the houses. And no, we're not directly on the beach, but we are pretty darn close. And this week we're actually going to be trying to go fishing. So I haven't gone saltwater fishing in a long time. I went ahead and got my license, I got new gear and all that type of stuff, so we should be ready to go. I need to go find a local bait and tackle shop to actually figure out what's biting, what are they biting on, different regulations. Everything changes all the time. There are a few apps that you can download for your phone. One I think is called Fish Rules, so I downloaded that, so if I do catch something I can check it on it and see if it's actually legal to keep, because I really want to keep one and actually cook it for the family. Haven't done that forever, but it's a good learning experience for the children to be able to actually go and, you know, basically cook what you catch. A lot of people aren't ready for that, but it's okay though. So what we're going to do in this particular video is actually go over how to set up your rig, how to make a few standard knots to be able to keep you out there and fishing. A couple things that you want to buy, some things that you don't need to buy, let you know what works, what doesn't, and most of the stuff I learned just like you watching videos. So anyway, I'm going to show you two different types of rig. One is a Carolina rig, one is a high-low rig, and I'll show you one that you have to pay for and one that you can make yourself. So we're going to do two different ways, and hopefully one of them will keep you going. From what I've found so far, I have gone out a couple of times, is that the one that we purchased from the store did pretty well, but the hooks are a little bit small. I'm kind of favoring the number 4 hook. Probably would like a number 5 hook. It all depends on what you're trying to fish for. So if you're trying to fish just for anything, I don't care what it is, jump on the line, get a small hook, put some bloodworms on it. If you're going for something a little bit bigger, go with like a number 4, number 5 hook with maybe a mullet or a squid or something like that. Everybody I've talked to, everybody was like, squid, what are you talking about, squid? Well, they sell them, but they said that it doesn't really work. That mullet works really well, either that or shrimp. So there's a couple different types of weights that you can look for, and it all really depends on the actual area that you're going to be fishing in. I'll kind of go over a few of those, but first I have one rod that my brother-in-law gave me to restring. It looked like it's been stored away for quite a long time, so we're going to put some new string on it. We're going to rig that up in a homemade sort of fashion of a couple of knots. I'm going to show you how to tie those knots as we go. So let's go over to the table. I'm gonna get my son into my face and I'm gonna show you a couple things. All right, so we're by the table. Now this one's gonna be a Carolina rig. All right, so what makes Carolina rig so special is that you have yourself a little swivel, and this will allow everything to spin all the way around. But you have your weight, and what it's gonna do is actually slide up and down on your rig, so that when the waves come in, this sits on the bottom and this kind of goes back and forth. It just has a small little leader, and then you have a hook. Alright, now these are pretty good. You can chunk these out really far. Only has the one hook, but that's okay. So the weight here and the waves pretty much flow this thing all around and make it look like bait. So anyway, so yeah, Carolina rig, not bad. I usually carry at least one rod with me with this type just to see what they're biting. Alright, so the next one here is a basic high-low rig. As you can see, it's got 2 hooks on it. One's high and one's low. Get it? High-low rig. Also has a leader with a weight down at the bottom. There's a couple different weights to choose from. This is just one type, and I'm going to go through that here in just a second. But each one of these has a little bit of a floaty to actually get the thing off the ground and actually float around. And I believe this is probably a number 2 hook on these. From what I've found so far this week, these hooks are a little bit on the small side. Maybe if I put some bloodworms on there, it'd probably work a little bit better. I was trying to use mullets, and it just would not. Yeah, these weren't more of my favorite. I'll put it that way. But this is a very good rig. It did not get tangled up too bad, and also it has a swivel. You see that? To actually get it to actually spin around, so you don't tangle up as much. Okay, so what we got here is another high-low rig, but the difference is I made this one myself. Just out of a couple little simple knots and some string. I did put a couple swivels on there just to keep it spinning, I guess. But in actuality, I probably should have just put one swivel up here to have the whole rig actually spin around. But this is the type that I'm actually going to show you how to make. It does have your weight down at the bottom, a hook there, and a hook there. These hooks here are number 4, which I kind of like those a little bit better. It did actually go all the way through the mullet a lot better. So this is one of the things we're going to do today. Alright, so one thing that you need to do is actually pick up a couple of pieces of kit. This is going to be my tackle box. One thing that you want to get is decent string or decent line. Alright, I got some tri-lane here. This is a monofilament. This is a 20-pound test line. Most of the fish out there, you can catch a 30-pound fish on 20-pound test. You just got to let it tire itself out and be able to pull it in. I kind of like 20. It's not too big. It's easy to tie. It's not the really skinny stuff to where you can barely see the darn thing. So I do like some 20-pound test. Also, like I said before, some number 4 hooks. These guys right here is called a circle hook. I'll show you the difference here in a second. So this right here is a circle hook. So this actually comes around in a circle. And here's a J hook. This looks like a J. Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, this right here would be the J hook. And the problem though is that when the fish swallows it and gets caught, it's cutting into the throat. And they call that gutting the fish. So if you actually pull this out of their throat, you could kill the fish. We don't want to kill the fish. We want them to live so we can catch them again. So that's where the circle hooks come in. Now these guys right here will actually get it and come out and actually catch the lip. So it doesn't hurt the animal as bad, so that it could live to be caught another day. There is a lot of regulations, and actually you can catch a fish that's too big to keep. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I do like the circle hooks a little bit better than the J hooks, mostly for that reason. So as far as weights go, there are 3 different types of weights that I have here. Alright, so we have a little flatty here. This is about a 1.5 ounce, and what this is going to do is when the waves come in, if it's like a really calm day, you can cast it way out there and then the waves will slowly bring it in. Now if you have a rough day, these aren't going to work so well. So then you kind of go, you step up to this guy. This is just a little, this is actually probably older than I am. This actually came out of my dad's tackle box. It's only a 2 ounce, and basically it's exactly what it is. It's just a lead weight. So what this guy is really good for is if you're coming off of a boat, a pier, or something like that, these actually work pretty well because all it does is drop it straight down to the bottom. Now when you're working off the surf, one thing that I found works a whole lot better than the other ones would be these little pyramid guys. This right here is a 3 ounce, and what this does is when it goes through, these corners are going to dig into the sand, and it's a lot harder to move it. One problem that I did have one day, that it was so windy and so wavy. As soon as I cast it out, I had 3 rods, cast, go back to the first one that's already up by the shore. Had to add more weight. Now also keep an eye on your rod specifications and find out how much weight you can actually put on them. Alright, so one thing that you might want to just pick up if you're doing a lot of Carolina rigs are these little tiny plastic sleeves. And what this stuff here is going to do is when your weight, let's say you're using this guy here, it goes this way, it's going to hit the knot. Go this way, hit the knot. Hit. Knots are going to come loose or break. You don't want to do that. So you put these little plastic deals on either end, so as the weight slides, it's not going to disturb the knot and break. Alright, so one of the things that you really need to figure out is, what are you fishing for? If you're trying to get some rock or a bluefish or something like that, something that doesn't have a lot of teeth, a lot of ground, but if you're going for like shark or something a little bit more aggressive, you might want to get a steel leader. What this does is that you just tie it on to your line. Put your hook down here on your quick connect, and then when the fish comes in there and bites at it, it's a little bit harder to actually bite through. So having a little bit of this actually helps you out. Okay, so today we're actually going to build our own rig, but one way to actually get around it, this right here is about $2. It has steel leads. You put your hook here, put your weight at the end. So you have a basic high-low rig, but it is made out of steel. This works out pretty well. This is about $2 a piece. It's not too bad, but then you still need to buy hooks. You still need to buy weights. You still have to buy everything else. So that's not too awful bad. They also come with, these are size 1 hooks. And this is actually the steel leader, but it is a J hook. These work out pretty well, but again, I'm not a big fan of the J hook. I got this from my dad, so I just wanted to show you. Okay, so that comes down to, remember that first rig I showed you that my buddy was using a high-low rig? This is basically what he picked up. It's just, it's a couple bucks. It's not that big of a deal, but it does come with hooks, comes with floaties. All you have to do is hook it up to your line, put a weight on it, and you're good to go. So that's pretty much all the basics of what you need to be able to rig up one of these. If you can buy it on the store, go ahead and buy it. If you're down at the beach and you run out of rigs, and you run out of stuff, but you still have hooks left, okay, this is how you're going to make your own. So we got 3 different knots that we're actually going to be doing today. We're going to do a fly reel knot, which is what I like to use when I'm actually stringing the reel itself with new string. There's a couple of, there's an arbor knot. It works okay. I kind of like the fly reel knot a little bit better. And then you're going to do a loop knot. Now a loop knot is actually exactly what it says. It makes a loop so that you can actually attach. So your loop knot is going to make it look something like that, but of course obviously it's not going to be made out of metal. So let me grab the reel. I'm going to show you the fly knot and get some string on that reel. Alright, so we have our reel. One thing that you always want to do when you are stringing up your string. Now, you would want to actually put this on the table and then unroll it like this. The only problem is, as you can see, it's got a lot of twist in it. You don't want to have all that twist in there because then it's going to start twirling up and getting knots. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is keep it flat so it rolls off that way. Ideally, I would put a screwdriver in there, put it on the vise, and it won't go anywhere. I don't have that, but I do have a tackle box. So I'll stick it in the corner, and then hopefully it's not going to go anywhere, and it'll come down. All right, so we want to string. Yeah, so I did split my rod in half so that I am not trying to wheel around a 10-foot rod. All right, so we're basically going to do a reel knot. A lot of people like the arbor. I like the reel. Here. Support your rod. Okay, so make sure your bail is turned over. You do not want to get all the way up there, tie it up there, and then forget to pull your bail over. So anyways, you're gonna go around once, then you're gonna go around twice. And then you wanna have enough slack on your tail here to make this knot. So, what you wanna do is put your finger down at the bottom and make a loop. All right, so basically when you look at it, you're gonna have 3 different lines coming off. Hold this loop, because you're gonna need that in a minute. Then you're gonna go around and twist it around. Give it about 5, 6, 7 times or so. It doesn't have to be a lot. Okay, so once you have all of that in there, what you're gonna do is that right where your finger was and you're making that loop, you're gonna stick your end and go right through that loop and pull it in. All right, so you're not gonna tighten it with this one, you're gonna tighten it with the top one. But you're gonna hold that, then tighten it all the way down to the reel. Now what this is going to do is, as you reel it in, this is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Alright, and you grab a hold of your scissors, cut it down tight, and find your string. You don't want to litter, put this away in the trash. Alright, so you have your fly knot over here on your reel. And now, all you gotta do is reel it in. Now, what you wanna do is actually fill this up. Don't go too much, because then it falls off and gets knots, but you wanna have enough up there so if you catch a fish and it starts to run, you'll have plenty of line, excuse me, for it to tire itself out. So, you wanna keep your hand up here, have the string go through your finger, because you wanna have tension on this line. Then reel it in. All right, so we're gonna try this, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. But we just put on some monofilament 20-pound test line on this rod. So I do have it connected all the way up. See, all the way up. Make sure you run it through all the eyelets, because once you start putting on these weights, you're not gonna pull it back out. So what you wanna do is you want 3 different loops in this. One is gonna be for your hook. Next one's gonna be for your hook, and the last one's gonna be for your weight. So grab about 3 feet of it, because you're gonna use a lot of it. All right. So what you wanna do with here is that you're gonna make a loop. Now this loop here is gonna dictate how big your loop's gonna be. If you wanna have it far, you make a big loop. If you wanna have it close, you make a smaller loop. It's totally up to you. So basically you're just gonna loop it around and bring it back in. All right, so you're gonna do this like 8 times or so. Really, it's up to you. You can do more than that if you want. What I'm gonna do, 8 times. Or 9 or whatever, because I already lost count because I'm talking too much. Okay, so once you get done with that, you should have a bunch of rounds right here. So basically all I'm going to do is pick out the middle, stick my nail in it, then we're going to open it up. So I got twist there, open it right up. And basically all you're going to do is pull your loop straight through that little knot, or that little hole. So then you're going to pull this out. Now you do not use this to tighten this knot, but you're going to line it up. There you go. So now I have a loop. Now what I'm going to do with this loop is actually put a hook on it, but I need another one down here towards the bottom. So I'm going to take about a foot and a half. All depends on what you're fishing for and where you're going to be at. So anyway, I'm going to take another foot and a half and do another one. So you do a loop. There you go. Now I have my loop. It's not going to go anywhere. It does not slide. It does not go anywhere. And you can actually cut one side loose, hook your hook onto it. It's all on the same piece of string. Down here at the end, this is where your weight's going to be. So I'm just going to tie another one there. There's a couple other ones there. You can do a bow line. You can do a Spanish bow line. There's so many different types that you can do out here. But to keep for this video, I'm going to do the same exact knot. Get yourself a snip. So, got myself a loop, and a loop, and a loop. Okay, so if you have a loop on the end, all you really have to do is stick it through, wrap it around your weight, pull it down, and then you're good to go, and you actually can take it back off with ease. But seeing as that he does have one of these little quick releases, here's a different knot that you can use. So basically you're going to put it straight through it. You're going to pull it in again, so basically you're double looping it. Then you go around. Now some people just want to twist it. It doesn't work as well. So guide it all the way around. Probably 6, 7, 8 times, whatever floats your boat. Alright. So once you have it all raveled up, the loop that you still have, see if I can see it. Alright, that loop that you still have from back here on the double round, stick it right in. Now, pull this. So when you pull this side, hold that so it doesn't come out. It's going to tighten itself onto itself. Now, that is never going to come off. The harder you pull, the tighter it gets. So now, nice and tight, you can cut it off a little tail. Then you can take your weight, put it on your hook, and boom, there you go. So, now kind of come up to the other loops that you have. One thing that you can do is actually take your hook, just like with the weight that I mentioned before. And you stick it right through the eyelet. Put it around the hook, and And then there you go. Now you have your hook. It's not gonna come off. It's nice and strong. And if you need to take it off, you can take it off. But I'm gonna show you a different way of doing it real quick. So this is one way. Nice and easy. But I want to tie it up here. So I have my loop. I'm just gonna take one end of it, cut it off. So now I have a string. Alright, so grab my hook, I'm gonna put it right through the eyelet. Alright. So I'm gonna hold. Ow. Don't put the hook through your finger. Alright. Same thing we did with the fly, so I'm gonna put the weight up here. So we're gonna make a loop. Then we're gonna hold it. Then we're gonna wrap it. Make it look nice and pretty and uniformed. Alright. Once you get up there about 7 or 8 times, you're gonna stick it straight through the eyelet that you still had. Just like that. And then, once you pull this, there you go. It's not going anywhere. Nice and tight. So that is just another way of tying that. When I get to the other hook, I'm going to show you a different way. It's pretty close to being the same way. Slightly different. Alright, where's my other loop? Okay, once again, got the loop. I'm going to cut one end. Now I have a long piece. Okay, got my hook. I'm going to go in once. And we're going to tie it just like we did the sinker at the bottom. We're going to go in twice. Alright, leave the loop. Hold it with your finger if you had to. Ow. So you find your loop, stick it right through the loop, hold it at the bottom, pull it down, and then there you go. So we got 2 hooks on and ready to fish with. Don't forget to cut your tabs. Alright, so we have a basic high-low rig. So we got 1 hook, 2 hook, and a weight down at the bottom. We're not quite finished yet because when you cast this out, it's going to want to spin. When you reel it in, it's going to want to spin. So what you want to do is put a swivel on it. So the knot I just showed you, do that twice. There you go, basic high-low rig. And the only thing I spent money on would be a weight. You gotta do that anyway. Some hooks, sometimes you gotta do that anyway. And I did put a little swivel on there just on the safe side. I did it on mine. I didn't really need a swivel, but it would have been nice to have a couple times there. It did get a little bit tangled. But hopefully this actually helps you out. If you run into a situation where you need to make your own, then make your own. Don't sit there and call it a day just because you can't, because you didn't buy one from the store. Be creative. Anyway, check out some more videos. I do have one that I did go out there and go fishing. We'll see how that goes, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about surf fishing. And will I be back? Yeah, I'm gonna be back. Anyway, until then, keep watching. Enjoy yourself. Get out there and fish. Get out in the outdoors. Protect wildlife. Wear a mask, please. Man, we need to get out of this thing. And enjoy yourself. Until then, keep fishing. Later.